a lot of people think flowers are just for special occasions, you know, for anniversaries or Mother's Day or birthdays. I mean, they can just be for every day. I mean, and that's what a lot of my customers, they come in and they treat themselves to flowers. Because, you know, they feel like, you know, it's part of their self-care routine. They realize that they deserve flowers because it's Wednesday and not because it's Mother's Day. I'm Michelle. I'm the owner of Bloomstall, and I flower the world. One year, my New Year's resolution or my New Year's goal was to, instead of buying myself like frivolous things, I decided that I was going to treat myself to flowers every single week. So that led to just getting my hands on really great flowers and playing with flowers, and then I wanted to offer people flowers that they couldn't necessarily find anywhere else, you know, by the stem, so they could come and they could put together something that was just for them. I opened up Bloomstall in Columbia Arts Building in April 2019, and it just grew from there. I had planned on moving because I needed a larger space, and I was very excited. I announced it, and I wasn't blind. I knew that COVID was coming, and I knew that it wasn't going to be great, but I didn't expect to completely shut down. So we closed, I think, the 15th at Cab. I say we, my husband helps me out a lot. And then I stayed closed until the Saturday before Mother's Day. So we were able to do deliveries and pickups and things of that sort during the time, but it was not how I expected to open my big new space. The one thing that I'm missing out on is weddings. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of my weddings have rescheduled for next year. There's not a lot of weddings, you know, going on right now. I mean, they're just starting to pick up now. And so it was a little frustrating at the very beginning because I had a lot of not cancellations, rescheduling, and for the few weddings that I had during that time, they were not as we planned because they're literally, they bulldozed flowers. It was just, the industry was hit hard. I hope we don't completely shut down again in the fall. I'm hoping that the weddings will pick up, and I'd like to have more workshops here, flower nights, you know, just some fun nights where we can all gather together and play with flowers. And I do flower crown workshops and some modern floral design workshops. So I'm hoping that that'll pick up, and then people are going to get married. So they're going to, you know, they're going to book weddings, and I'm hoping that it changes things where weddings will be more intimate and they'll be smaller, you know, and because of this, they'll realize that maybe they don't need 300 guests or, you know, a huge wedding, that we can do some small things. We lived in Spring Hill for 8 years, I think, and at the time I was an orthodontist assistant, and I would have to drive either to the Franklin office or to the Columbia office a couple of days a week. I always loved driving to the Columbia office, just being here. I mean, he would sometimes take us out to lunch at the little cafes, and it's just, it has a charm that's like no other. We moved to East Tennessee because I fell in love with a historic house, and then we were going to move somewhere else, and it fell through. So we decided to come back to this Franklin, Spring Hill, Columbia area and regroup and figure out where we wanted to live. And so we lived in an apartment for less than a year, and we started coming to Columbia, and we saw all the amazing things that were happening. We happened upon the Columbia Arts Building. They have at the time they had a vegetarian restaurant there. And there's not a lot of places where vegetarians can eat. So we ate there, and we fell in love with the people there and the building, and we fell in love with Columbia. So we found a house pretty quickly and moved here. I think Columbia is great because, you know, during all of this, it seems like everybody was coming up with innovative ways to support each other. Like Elia did the Columbia Cares boxes, and Bad Idea asked me to do like date night bouquets where they would have, they would have a food truck, and then you could get your food and your beer and your bouquet to go. So I hope that, we all like band together and realize that, small business is really what Columbia is about. Even before we moved back here, I felt like Columbia is a town that, sure, there's chains. I mean, there's chains, and people, they visit those chains and they buy from those chains. But I think Columbia wants to see local businesses succeed. They don't want their local businesses to go. I mean, I think that if COVID has proven that, that they're voting with their dollar. They're voting for the people they want to see, the businesses they want to see here in the future.